Sobering Times. I'm Daniel Lubin. Sobriety date, May 23rd, 1988. And I'm here with my very first installment of my new podcast where we're creating generational health. And I'm here with my good friend, Willie Boyd. Willie Boyd. So I'm holding up here authorship, literature from my good friend, Willie Boyd. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, Manuel. It's so good to see you. My name is Willie Boyd. My sobriety date is August 4th of 1996. And such a privilege and a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon.
So I want to ask you, where are you right now, currently? Before we get to the book, where are you currently right now in life? How would you describe your life situation right now?
Well, I like to think that I'm in a good place emotionally and mentally, physically. My last physical with my primary care doctor, all of my vitals are in the normal range.
Okay,
So I'm just grateful to be in a good physical and mental, emotional state right now at this point in my life.
I had to ask that question because Willie's doing real well. As you can see the trappings that surround us here, Willie's doing well. He
thank you,
prepared
sir.
well for the second half of his life. So, Willie, I just want to know what brought about this book? What about your upbringing that brought about this book?
That's a wonderful question. My upbringing was mediocre, I'm going to say. I come from a religious family back home in Carolina, South Carolina, and the expectations to succeed was very high. You know, it was expected that we do well and prosper in life. And so what brought about this book was an opportunity that presented itself when I was attending my 40th high school class reunion. And one of my professors, the principal, suggested that we tell young people our story, how we have maintained. And at the reunion, he said, there's no losers here tonight. You all are winners. So I think it's important that you tell young people your story. And this venue was a way of me telling young people how I've maintained.
And for what I've known about you, you're a guy with high resilience. You've lived a life where you had to overcome quite a bit. I mean, I read in here where you're being called a boy. And your response was, I've been around the world fighting for the United States. Do you still think I'm a boy? We have another incident where you're working at IBM, we all lunching, and they serve you a sandwich with a roach crawling out of it. And your manager had to say, hey, Willie, don't eat that. So the resilience.
And let's get out of here.
The professional focus and politeness that it takes to undertake that. Where did that come from?
That's a great question, Manuel. I was taught that I've lived my life to not be just to react in a violent measure, you know, because nothing is overcome violence on violence, an eye for an eye. Everybody becomes sightless and blind, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been taught, and by the grace of my loving Creator, to just maybe don't be reactionary, don't be impulsive, and try to get back to what my Creator would want me to do. How would He want me to respond to negativity? Okay, just it's impulsive or reactionary that I hesitate and not respond in a violent measure when negativity is enforced upon me.
So what I'm hearing here is you've had to swallow your anger quite a bit.
Well,
I'm gonna say this quick. I had acid reflux before I was 30, constantly having to swallow my anger, but no, not on the level that you had to deal with.
Well,
Any physical complications as a result of having to deal with all that negative abuse, all that negative stereotyping?
Well, um, I think there has been some physical health reactions as a result of having to deal with a lot of trauma, social trauma, I'm going to say, post-traumatic slavery trauma, okay? And I think it produces high blood pressure, okay? And this, it can be quite fatal if it's not noticed or treated and taken into consideration. To negativity, that's, you know, still we receive some of the same negativity every day. You know, that's still a lot of ignorance in our society. People tend to want to say, well, we're living in a post-racist society, but I don't subscribe to that notion because I'm a realist. I'm a realist. I see things and wonder how can we still be in that particular stratosphere, lack of a better word, with all of the accomplishments that has occurred socially in our society. But
we certainly still have ways to go. But you did end the book on a positive note. So within you resides a lot of optimism. I guess that's the resilience in you that better is yet to come. Better is coming, better is yet to come, better will come. So I want to come to, I just remember always seeing you on the Santa Monica Promenade back in the 90s. And I would always, we got sober together, and Willie struggled. And I would just say something right now. He was always smarter than all of us. Something about this guy.
Well, you're so modest. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, man, you were smarter than us. So I just want to say, Willie, when you was out there, what's in you that told you you're going to get up out those streets and you're going to eventually get sober? What was in you? What is that?
Well, I've had moments of clarity that occurred. And in those moments of clarity, I always remembered from where I had begun, you know, my origins. And I mentioned to you earlier today, my family did not raise me. I wasn't reared to not be successful. You know, I come from a very optimistic family, you know, although we were confronted with tons of racism and social disadvantage meant, I'm going to say, but we through our faith and the God that we worship, my family worshiped, we kept our eye on the prize. We kept our eyes on the prize. So it was something deep down in me, knowing from where my origins were, where I had come from, that told me that this was not the end of the road. The road.
Is there an incident? Is there an incident that says, I got to get up out of here? Mama raised me better than this. Mama Margaret, her name was Margaret?
Yes.
Mama Margaret raised me better than this. Is there an incident that?
Several incidents.
Okay.
That's been several. But I finally reached the end of the line. You know, it was so, I had dug such a deep hole, you know, and I didn't want to go on to the bitter end. And I just kept adding up the negative occurrences until I finally said, well, enough is enough, you know. And I can remember being on the pier in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
And I had been in the boathouse all day with another vet friend of mine who's not here anymore, Carlos Rodriguez. He drank himself to death. He died, Vietnam vet. I saw him die at the Veterans Hospital, swelled up like he was 8 months pregnant.
Hopefully he's in the meeting in the sky.
I'm hopeful. And now once I saw that, I saw what his end was. That propelled me. Man, you can't go back. You can't go back. Because this is what you have waiting on you if you continue to go doing what you do. You know.
And you went where to get sober? Where did you
The
go
Veterans
get sober?
Hospital.
Oh, the VA.
I went to the Veterans Hospital in West Los Angeles into a program that they called the Haven. It was run by the Salvation Army. And it's a life-saving program. A lot of other vets went into New Directions, which is another private program. But I went to the Haven, and it was a 90-day program. I had been beaten down enough, you know, over the years that 90 days at the dorm, at the treatment facility, the Haven, I was given the opportunity, the chance the cloud moved away, you know, and then after I left the Haven, I got accepted into the domiciliary, which is also a recovery
Big question.
program.
When and how did you choose your mentor?
I was in that's a great question. I was in a PTSD group, post-traumatic stress disorder group, at the West LA VA hospital.
Yeah.
And another guy was in there, Gregory W. He was a combat soldier, you know, a Marine, U.S. Marine. Navy and the Marines, the same department, you know. And in the group, he was talking louder than anyone else in there. Looked like he had a firmer grip on this sobriety, this recovery, than anybody else in there. So after the group, I approached him. I said, Greg, man, I'm glad you're here. I need your help. I'm sick and tired of all the debauchery that I've been going through. And would you be my sponsor? Would you help me?
What did you see in Gregory?
I saw recovery. I saw knowledge. I saw wisdom. I saw experience. Here's a man who did 13 months in the jungles of Vietnam. In facing death every day, and have come back to America. Now, when I met him, he had 11 years. And I thought it could have been 100 years. But as far as I'm concerned, it could have been the 11 years to me was 100.
What do you think?
The experience, man, well, you know
what do you think was sparked in you? It's like this is what they say about mentors. I heard a great boxer say he was like 12 years old and he saw his boxing hero, Sugar Ray Robinson. He ran 11 miles that day. The people we choose as mentors, they provoke us for such extraordinary heights in terms of behavior. What did Greg spark in you? What was in you that came out?
Honesty. I think finally I was cornered, and I thought that he'd be able to see through any kind of delusion or facade or BS, you know. I know children might be watching this, but he'd be able to see any kind of unclarity, uncertainty on my part.
Accountability. So you saw a man that could bring accountability out in you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Interesting.
And he'd be able to guide me to a better quality of life, a better soundness, to seek soundness of mind, a better health, quality of health, improving my health.